Babe, I don't even know how to tell you this because I know you're gonna judge me. How could you not? How could anyone in society not judge me? But, so, recently I've been trying to limit the screen time and the bedtime. And our thing was, when we're done with our screen time, then you are, and we go to bed. All of us. And, she would be in our bedroom drawing or doing her pad or both, or looking at books. Mostly pad and drawing. And she was pretty compliant about the bedtime thing. And but Paul and I always felt a palpable sadness that she had to be stuck in her room while we had fun out here. But I would be like, I need a break. Like, I need some time to talk to someone other than a 6-year-old during the day. And I want to hang out with you alone. Like, I don't think it'd usually be about 2 hours. So I just, and also it's like, come on, Paul. Like, the bedtimes that were strictly enforced that we had, and mine was worse than his, but his was pretty much the same. Like, you go to bed and that's it. With mine, it was like I could scream and cry and be ignored, and if I did anything bad, I'd get sent to bed without dinner. But basically, we had bedtime, no questions asked, and we never really questioned it. And so I was like saying that to Paul recently, and he's like, well, I don't think bedtimes are good. Like, so, okay. So anyway, we had this system going for like a week, and it seemed to be better. You know, we were forcing ourselves to get started earlier, to finish earlier, and therefore get her, that's the front door, earlier. But there was something, a feeling of, I can't explain it. I don't know. Just something didn't feel quite right. So a few nights ago, here's the judgment part. We did our thing. We went, I didn't even tell Paul because it was spontaneous. We went into the bedroom, and I was like, you look like you have a lot of energy in your body. Like, maybe, you know, are you tired? Or, like, you don't really even look ready for bed. She's like, I'm not. I just want to play. I want to jump. And I was like, I'm ready to sleep. So, I don't think you should be in here while people are ready to sleep. This is like the quiet sleep room now. And maybe you should go into another room and finish up, or do what you want, like jump around or color, do your pad. And like, Paul was kind of shocked because that's what he's wanted all along. And I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I just said that. And so night one, she did that, and she came back. Like, I was barely asleep, so I think it was like an hour later, and she crawled into bed, and she was a little chatty for like a moment, like, and then fell asleep. On day two, it was the same. I don't know the exact timeline, but it's been less than a week. On Mother's Day, like in the middle of the night on Mother's Day, she crawled into bed and she was like, Happy Mother's Day. And then she fell asleep. And it was very sweet. Yesterday, during the day, after Paul left for work, she had a lot of energy. She was playing around the house. She wasn't just doing her pad. But she would not get dressed. Like, she was like a little devil about getting dressed. And finally I was like, if you don't get dressed We can't go outside. We can't go anywhere. We can't leave the house. I was like, get dressed. And I didn't help her. I didn't feel like helping her. So she ran and she got an outfit, and it was like her robot t-shirt, long sleeve t-shirt, and her silver H&M pants, and her little silver slip-ons that are adorable. But she only wore at Christmas because they're not comfortable. They're not really broken in because she never wears them, but they're very stiff. But she looked awesome. And she's like, I'm ready. But then she was walking around the house a little bit, and then she's like, these hurt. Whatever. I just wanted to know that she had this cool outfit on. So she puts on her boots, and we go out, and I have my purse. I didn't know what I was going to do with her. It was very windy out. So part of me was like, fuck this wind. I was going to take her to the library. And then I thought, like, the park would be more energetic and to be good. And then I got kind of depressed and lazy and we didn't go anywhere, but we stayed in the neighborhood and we went down Misty, down that side of Susan's house, and there's a pothole, and then next to the potholes were tons of brick, like, not bricks, but like rocks made out of like whatever the material of the street is made out of. And she was like, she wanted to play like toss the rocks into the pothole. We did this for a really long time, and it was nice. It was fun. I wasn't bored. After a while, I got bored, but it took a long time. And then also, she rode around the neighborhood on her balance bike. But when we got, and then she wanted to go inside again. But when I looked at my watch, I wore Paul's watch that you gave Paul, but he never wears. I realized we'd only been out for like an hour and 15 minutes. And I was like, well, this is better than nothing. And we come inside, and I got this thing that happens to me where I have to take a nap like immediately right now. I'm gonna fall down. It happens every single day at some point. So I was like, I have to lay down. And I lay down on the couch, and she just gets on her pad. And that was like 4 in the afternoon, or 4:30, and that's all she wanted to do for the rest of the day. But I'm somewhat guilty because when I'm alone with her, I tend to be kind of depressed, like really low motivation to do anything. I get more alive at night, like maybe 1 to 2 hours before Paul gets home. I get like energized, and I'll play with her, wrestle, or chase each other and stuff. But there's like a long chunk of the day where I'm just barely alive, and I just let her do that stuff. Or I don't encourage anything. Anyway, around, I don't know what time, like around 8 or 9, I was like, let's take a break. I was like, how about a bubble bath? She's like, no. I was like, you haven't had a bath in a while, and you're dirty. I'm like, look at your toenails, and I know you have like some weird black grime on your legs. She's like, I don't want a bath. She used to always want baths. And, well, anyway, I want you to take a break from, her latest thing is called Roblox. Okay, that's a whole other story in itself. Where it's like a variety of games that you can play. But what also exists are nerds playing their game and narrating, like nerd boys. and she's obsessed with both, and she spends hours doing both. So anyway, I was like, let's get off the Roblox, and you can have a drink and then help me put the laundry from the washer to the dryer. And she goes, I'll have a drink and then I'll do nothing. I was like, whatever. Like, I didn't show any, like, I was like, okay. So she gets her drink. It's chocolate milk. It takes her a while to make it, to drink it. And then she goes into the playroom, shuts the door. And I was like, oh, I wonder if she's gonna, like, do the job, like, to kind of despite me or to please me. I don't know. So, a couple of minutes later, I open the playroom door, and then I see the music room door is closed. And then I open the music room door, and the sliding door is closed. And I was like, huh, she doesn't, like, I don't know what she's doing, but she doesn't want me in there, and okay, like, I didn't really care. So I went to do some dishes, and then I stopped the dishes, and I hear her screaming, "Mommy, Mommy." And I open the playroom door, and she's right there, and she's like, why didn't you hear me screaming? Why didn't you hear me screaming? And I was like, I was washing dishes. She's like, why didn't you come to the laundry room? And I was like, well, I saw all the doors were shut, so I thought you wanted privacy. And she had some like convoluted BS explanation of how I should have known that she was there waiting for me to help. Basically, she went to an epic meltdown that it's weird. I had this eerie calmness, and every irrational, insulting thing she said to me, I would either say, that's really not true, or, I don't know, like, I would just listen. I just had my calm. I don't know why. I guess I could see that she was just really upset and didn't, like, really have any real reason to be, like, that she could explain. So any little thing was something to latch onto and be upset about. And it was not getting to me. I don't know why. I really don't know why. It's like random. Anyway. So, whatever. We're like snipping and she's snipping and snapping at me a lot until Paul comes home, and I did keep her off the computer and the pad. We played anyway. Paul comes home, she plays. Usually we get the party started at noon, at 12 p.m., 12 a.m., and then we start our Dark Shadows. And this time went until 12:30. I think Paul got home a little later. What? This has nothing to do with anything. We do our Dark Shadows, go to bed. She goes to do her thing. I go to sleep. And she comes in later, and she's like, "Mommy," like really loud. And I was like, "What?" And then I open my eyes, and like it's totally daylight. It's like dawn. And she's like, "I stayed up until dawn. I didn't. I did my iPad games and I drew at the same time, and my eyes never closed. And I'm up until dawn. And look, it's dawn. It's the morning. I stayed up all night." And she was really boastful about it. And then she went to the bathroom, and I said to Paul, I was like, I can't handle this. And he was barely responsive. Now they're asleep, and I don't know what's going to happen today. I'm going to get her up, I don't know, like noon, and I'm worried about how she's going to be all day. And this experiment, I don't know. Just please don't judge me. It's so hard to have a kid, and to try to do things differently, which maybe is a mistake. But we have this intuition not to do things the way our childhoods were, but maybe we're too extreme. I don't know. This was sort of working, where she had a sense of freedom and she was responsible with it, or sensible, or went with how her body felt. Like, I am tired now, and it didn't happen last night. And I gotta talk to Paul, and he might not agree with me. I don't know. Just please don't judge me. Don't judge me, please. It's hard. Okay, I gotta go. Bye bye.